they're connected to somebody that I sent an email out to. It's irritating.
Because this article's on the bylaws.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but.
Up and coming guys.
Planning commission member discussion.
$125.
You know what, I know it's
Get
good,
another
but.
form.
Have you ever?
Yeah, I told them.
I got that.
That way, Michelle doesn't see your whole. Been open for 5 years now.
Yeah, it's scary.
It is scary.
Why
We'll
don't we
get
do?
through it.
Yeah,
As
why
long
don't
as
we
they're
do
not
that
finding our
right
personal
after
data and not
Right.
making us pay a
I
lot.
just put it on there.
That's all.
I guess I'm good.
As long as that doesn't
I just, we
happen.
made dinner and I got introduced as John.
Yeah, he's not coming. Yeah, he's
Well, I will register
in
today
2 weeks. They'll take the cast back out on S3.
with the option of what is happening.
Well, then,
I might not.
So it'll be a while.
That'll take me either
Yeah.
15 minutes or 2 hours.
Okay.
Because there's no numbers.
Question.
That's the first one.
Days she has people in jail.
That's usually the tough
She does it first, and then people who have paid attorneys.
one. I guess you are using him since
when is that?
ankle sounds worse
I
than
know, right?
even he does.
Probably,
Because
probably
they're
next
little.
weekish.
And they're not. Although just once, I like one of them would take our.
3:35 and I'm like,
As they ran.
I've heard, okay, so this is one thing I've already heard that.
I think I have to go with it.
I have such small
oh yeah, the department manager.
We already have.
Here, I'm gonna have to sign this. This is
I know the
just.
first Tuesday creeps up fast.
The,
It's like, you probably should
Actually,
put
on
it
the
on
west
the
side of,
third one.
west side of, west of Stone.
But, yeah, they said that this is the,
They pay us for
To the
it's
left.
only like
901 way.
36 years that we have 5 Sundays,
And,
Mondays.
You know what, they have.
Willie or
They only let you know.
Wow.
Only way to do this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
everybody.
think.
Doesn't happen often.
All right, we do.
Shows not.
Nice to know statistical.
Well, it's pretty wild.
Right, Vice Chairman.
I gotta get the damn
I
sign.
had the.
Talked to the sheriff last night.
I'll write it over here. What do you want?
Just text.
Sure.
Just text.
So just kind
And
of
I'm like, what do you mean? Because here's the thing. And she called again. I'm like,
so.
different word.
Yeah, I met her last year, the year before.
I don't have them up yet. I gotta get them, I gotta work.
What the hell you been doing?
What is it, 12 signs? The hell is it? 20, 25? Yeah.
I'll bring you up for
Kind of
it
lonely
too.
in here, Wanda.
Not yet, I'm sure some, oh, look, here's
Who
Don.
wants done?
Probably should be by
There's like no cars here.
You've been replaced by the phone.
Can you hear us?
You're right, you're right.
Just barely?
We got 4 minutes.
Well, I could hold the phone up like this if that's.
Well,
We got 2 on the computer.
I'm not going through all of them, just you guys
Do
got.
I call the bits?
Where's the cars?
Very good.
we got 1 minute now, according to my, whatever that's called.
So my last thing
Oh no, it looks like Mike Stevens is coming. Oh my God.
What's on the agenda tonight?
I don't know. I'm guessing item number 10. I don't know. Okay. Gary, are we ready? Time is 6 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. I'd ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ryan,
Here.
John,
Here.
Dan, Wanda,
Here.
Don,
Here by telephone. Okay. First item on our agenda, does anybody have any reason to abstain for financial conflicts of interest?
I do not.
I do not.
I do not. Don, are you?
No, I do not either.
Okay, Don has stated that he does not as well. Now we go to public comment. Oh, I'm sorry, approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to.
Turn
Madam
your-
Chair, I'd like to go ahead and strike item 8 and have it on the next meeting. I know Don should be here for that one, in my opinion.
Okay. And we're also going to move item 15, the appointment of the Director of Equalization, up to what will be item 4B, which is right before Mr. Solacek speaks. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I so move.
Second.
Moved by Marquardt, seconded by Heine. All in favor, say aye.
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 5-0. With that, it's public comment, and in accordance with the real chairman's instructions, public comment is a time for persons to address this body on any subject. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. There shall be no personal attacks against the members of this body, county staff, individuals, or organizations. The chair has the authority to enforce this policy. Failure to adhere to these rules may result in the forfeiture of your remaining speaking time. With that, we move on to the appointment of the Director of Equalization. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have any public comment? With that, I'll close public comment. Now we move on to the appointment of the Director of Equalization. And it says that who's going to speak to that?
I guess I will. Yeah, so me and Don had conferred and we recommended to appoint Michelle as our permanent Director of Equalization. And as we have discussed, we offered it to her. She has accepted. And so this would be the final appointment for her.
And is that a motion?
So I move to appoint Michelle Gogan to Director of Equalization at grade 11, step 4.
Moved by Heine. Do I have a second?
Don,
Second by Kettering. With that, I take a roll call vote.
Ryan,
Yes.
Don. Yes. Dan,
no.
John,
Yes.
Wanda.
Yes. Motion passes 4-1. Congratulations, you're now our new no longer acting Director of Equalization, real Director of Equalization. Would you like to step up and share any thoughts? You don't have
Do we
to.
have to give her the oath of office, or is
I
it-
have an oath that she can sign. That's what I do with the other ones.
And she'll sign that probably tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, then. With that, we'll move on to item 5, the advertisement for gravel bids by the superintendent of the highway department. Mike Solacek.
I'm looking for a motion to allow me to go out to bid for gravel east of Highway 81, south of Highway 46 in Yankton County.
I would make a motion to approve or to allow Mike to go out for bids on that.
Mike, is the reason for that to just save money hauling it?
Into the microphone, please.
I don't know how I could get closer than I am,
Because,
but,
because I can't, because
will.
Mr. Kettering needs to hear you.
okay. Is that the reason, to save money on, or do
Well,
we just
right,
need
we do
gravel in
have
that area?
we do have a pile over in that area, and it's
Okay.
getting down there, and it's time, we have it in the budget right now to afford it, so
Okay.
I say we,
All right, I'll second that motion made by John then.
Motion by Markwart, second by Clemish. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to Mr. Solacek's second. Approval of the 5-year road plan.
yep, as I believe pretty much everybody was there last week for the 5-year plan for the highways and bridges. I feel we had a good turnout. Guess we didn't have anything negative against the plan itself, so.
Yeah. Is this a hearing, Patty, where we have to open it up? Okay. I guess I'd
It's
move,
just a-
I'd move approval of the 5-year highway plan, but I would like to make an addition that I discussed at the highway plan meeting. I'd like a additional page added, we could call it special projects, and I would like 434 Kaiser Road and 310 added to that, and I don't want any timeline placed on that, but those are the roads that have been an issue for a decade, and they're not getting addressed. So I think by putting them on there, again, we're not putting ourselves to a time, but they need to be on the plan, and they need to be addressed at some point.
Are you, so these are projects that are not in a plan?
Yeah.
We would have no plan.
yeah.
What would your kind of goal of this extra addendum be?
Okay, well, I know you were unable
Yeah,
to make the
I
5-year
was
plan.
unable to make it due
Well,
to some family issues.
Sure,
yeah.
no,
But,
I understand that, and the reason I bring that up is because we had a number of individuals out there from Highway 310, 434 at Kaiser Road, and they've been coming to the 5-year plan, at least for the last 5 years that I've been here, and according to them, even longer than that. 310, for example, is a county road that was integrated into our system back in 2014. It's a county road, but nothing is being done with it, and a lot of people live on that. And the same as 434 and Kaiser Road.
Yeah.
That's the most heavily traveled gravel road in our system. Is that an accurate statement?
I would say so.
Which one is?
Both, well, they're
434
together.
Kaiser.
And
Do we have a count? Or are we
Yes.
just guessing?
No, we do
What-
have.
do you
traffic
have those
counts.
numbers with
Two counts from this,
Yeah.
2 separate times this summer, once right
Yeah.
before the 4th and then once right before Labor Day.
And I know this was brought up at our 5-year plan meeting that I was gonna add this on there, and, you know, the people, I guess, at that time agreed with it.
So,
Is it because you want it to be shovel-ready in case funds become
I-
available?
That could be an option, but then it's gonna stay on the forefront of our 5-year plan, so.
well,
I don't
I
know.
don't wanna give people false hope. I do agree with you, Dan, on that I think there needs to be a couple commissioners that want to form a task force committee, whatever you wanna call it, to try to get that ball rolling.
Sure.
I just don't want to put it on the 5-year plan while people see it on the 5-year plan next year, while they're thinking in 5 years it's gonna get done. What if it
Well, I'm not gonna put any time on it, any timeline where it's gonna get done, but it needs to be addressed, and maybe it'll be 10 years before it's addressed. But we've been kicking the can on these things down the road for too long, and that's my motion. Maybe it'll get seconded, maybe it won't, but we gotta address these things, and so that's my motion.
I would agree with Dan that we need to take a look at those 3 roads. And like you mentioned, let's have a special project list. We have an annual project on our annual budget. I think we need to make sure that those roads are initiated on our special projects list for our annual budget. I don't know how we can incorporate that into our 5-year plan, but, with the state, but I think we need to make sure that those roads are on our schedule to look at. As,
Well-
just like West 11th Street was never on a 5-year plan, but there was a project that was brought to the commission 2 years ago, was it?
I think it
that
was
road-
last
that
year.
That street was gonna be done,
Yeah.
so.
But,
I
but
think-
that was done, was it not, by a private group of citizens
Yes, it
that
was.
agreed to
Yes, it
pay
was.
for it?
Yes, it was.
Not
And-
in total, a portion of it.
And we're working with that private group also to
Yep.
see if they can bring that forward, so.
Yep.
So it's just an issue that I think we need to take a look at.
Yeah, I was just like, I hate to add things onto a plan without any actual plan.
right?
It just makes bad planning, in my opinion. So like if we have an end goal or a purpose for this addendum, okay, if we have special projects, maybe do we have a list of these do we make an addendum that says, here are some roads we wish could be in the 5-year plan, but they're not, and if we're fortunate, we can maybe get to them. Maybe that's
That's
type of-
the
that type
reason
of a
for
plan.
calling it a special project. And again, I'm not putting this on, that it'll be paved on 2028. I'm not doing that. It's just these roads have been in limbo status for at least a decade, and nothing seems to happen with them. And, people at the last meeting came here and said, we've been talking about this road for 10 years. Why isn't it on the highway plan? And I don't have an answer to that. It should be. And I think this is a compromise, kind of like what you said, having these roads identified, saying we need a plan for them. But I don't want to
yeah.
get too specific and say what that plan is.
But you also have to be concerned about, putting it on there and giving people false hope,
Well,
and then seeing this in 5 years, it's still there and still not done.
Well,
And
I'm willing to
we
take
might
that
have
risk.
more
I mean,
angry
you gotta move forward on things, and we're already doing traffic counts on those, and so that's my motion. Maybe it'll get second, maybe it won't, but that's where I'm at.
I think that a traffic count should be done not over a holiday weekend, not right before the 4th of July, not right before Labor Day, like just on a random day, like the 4th of October.
They were done the week before.
Yeah.
I
didn't
understand.
want it right on the
And
holiday.
didn't we do
But a
traffic
lot of
counts
people
last
travel
year,
in
too?
anticipation of holidays.
I believe we did traffic counts last fall.
Yeah, we did 'em
And
last-
this summer. So even by our own accounting, we are collecting data on this road and these roads, and so,
Yeah, once last fall and twice this summer.
I agree that we should not forget these 3 roads, but I also think that, I agree with Commissioner Heine that I don't think we want these people to get false hope that once this road that's in year 2024 is done, then that road, the new road on the special list automatically becomes the next most.
but, yeah, I don't think we're not promising anything. We're just trying to develop a plan for these, and at least
I
so-
would love to see them roads done. Like, it would help us out tremendously, but with the West 11th project, we set precedents with that. So, I'm speaking for myself, but we almost have to do the same thing on 434 and Kaiser with the residents.
Well,
And
I
that's,
would
and that's kind
ask-
of outside of the 5-year road plan.
I'm sorry?
And that would be outside of the 5-year road plan anyway,
Yes.
because
no,
that is
West
something that is a
11th got added to
community.
the 5-year road plan last year.
It got added after,
Well, it-
after the agreement was
It-
done.
It got added and was never on the plan prior to that, so.
After the agreement was done.
But after 90% of the people or 95% of the people agreed that they would pay a special assessment. Yes, Mr. Kettering. Would you like to speak to this? I can't hear you. Oh. Try again. There you go.
Yeah, my point is,
Okay, now,
move. Can you hear me now?
no, I could hear you when you said my point is, and then after that, nothing.
My point is,
Is that number
Can you just call in on this phone?
Yeah.
Landline?
Fire.
No, I could hear you when you said my point is, and then.
Like,
Why don't you share with us and then I'll maybe repeat it back? Hello?
Gary, am I on?
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Hurry before we lose you.
yep. I guess my point is, we have a 5-year plan that's required by the
Federal government.
government. It documents. We have a 5-year plan. It's,
Do you have the TV or something
I
on?
think he has the meeting on.
it's
When you're talking, you need to turn the meeting down.
it has something to do with my wife's earphones. Anyway,
Okay?
turn that off.
That's Pam's fault.
Okay, now you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, we have a 5-year plan that lays out our general direction that we plan on going. We've always maintained a position that when that needed to be adjusted, we could adjust it. I think to have another list of topics that is on some list that we have to address every year as to why it hasn't moved up or what's happening on it is probably futile on the budget that we get to do the projects that we got. I have no problem at all with having a list of roads that we want to put on a list that we would work on towards in the future. But I guess I object to having a formal list.
Okay.
Mike, you probably got a good idea of the roads that you push back off the 5-year plan that could easily be added on, right?
Right, there's always,
That's my thoughts. I keep it simple. Everybody knows it. If we tried to do all the capital projects that we got on a 5-year plan, it ain't gonna happen.
Okay. Anything else?
no, and Don, you
No.
realize it would just be a list that we're gonna get a plan for, not putting a date or time or any dollars toward it, just as a reminder that, hey, these are out there and they need to be addressed at some point. I guess,
Well-
I don't, yeah, I guess
You know,
I
I
get what.
agree, Dan. I think it's important that the public knows what's going on. They have a lot of access to information by coming to meetings and listening to plans. And we always have an open agenda for them to come in when we do the 5-year plan. problem is not the 5-year plan. The problem is the money. We don't have the
Sure.
money.
I understand that, but, you know, the last meeting, we had some people say, you know, why is 12 miles of 294 getting
Well, I tell them
paved
if
and-
they want the
and-
roads, they should come in and ask for a increase in taxes
I-
to do more roads than 2 or 3 to do a number of roads. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yep.
Anything else from any other commissioner?
I guess I would recommend or ask Dan to revise his motion that we approve the 5-year plan as presented. And, beside the 5-year plan, we all know that there's a list that can be created for Kaiser Road, 310, the number of roads
494.
that are there. And the 5-year plan can always be changed. We've decided that this year that we're gonna change the plan for next year. So if we need to add one of those roads via, our recommendations or their, tax assessment, issue, then we can always do that. And that would be my recommendation.
How do we keep 434 Kaiser Road and 310 from getting kicked down the road further if it's not on the plan? That's my concern.
Well, it's,
This-
you're
this is-
already saying it's not gonna be on the plan. You're saying have a special addendum listing special roads that in some time in the future need to be worked on. I think everybody knows those roads need to be
But
worked on.
why hasn't nothing
Is there a road
happened
in
in
the county?
a decade? Well, no, it's not. I guess I don't understand why, you know, 434, well, they'll have to pay for it themselves, but 294, well, we're gonna spend $1 million and pave 12 miles of that. My question is, I wanna know, why is that? Is that based on traffic counts? Is it based on use? You know, there was an individual that asked that. He said, well, why are you paying 294? I don't have an answer. Tell me why why we're gonna pave that one, but we're not gonna pave 434 and Kaiser Road, which probably has 10, if not 20 times the traffic. I guess I need an answer for that, and I think the public deserves an answer too.
So,
And I understand what you're saying and agree with that. And I don't know if you're referring to Kaiser Road. I've talked to more than one person on Kaiser Road, and there is no interest by people that I've talked to on an increase in taxes to upgrade their road.
But I get that, but, and I support paving 294th too, but why is 294th? Well, the county will pay for that. But Kaiser Road, no, if you want that paved, you gotta pay for it yourself. I guess what's the policy or what's the reasoning behind the county commission doing that? Cause I think we gotta tell our citizens, cause they need to know the answer.
I think we have a
So-
highway superintendent whose job is
Well,
to
he
deter,
didn't
wait,
make that decision. we
let
did.
me finish. Highway superintendent who has probably better knowledge of the roads than any of us 5 individuals. And that individual travels those roads, looks at those roads, repairs those roads, gravels those roads, and has some idea, probably better than we do, as to why this road's getting done this year and then not that road's not getting done this year. I get it.
Well,
I wish we had more money so we could do all the roads. That'd be great.
like 294 was an asphalt road, and then people were,
Mike,
Mike's
I've-
talking.
and that was
Which-
the plan from,
Mike.
that was the plan from day one, once that got ground up, that we were going to
Redo it.
hard surface it again. And for me to say, hey, we're gonna go pave 434 Kaiser, I can't do that without you guys.
I'm also noting, Dan, it was just not more than 2 months ago, we had all sorts of people coming in about 294 as well. And this is a project that's been kicked down the road already. And so we're finally gonna get to it in 2025, so every one of us is going to have a set of roads. Every person in this county is going to have a set of roads they really want to have improved. It's just never going to be ending.
But what's the
at the end of the
criteria that
day,
we use,
this is
though?
a plan, and a good plan needs to be clear, focused, and achievable. Adding unachievable goals onto it is not going to help our plan.
I guess I'm wondering what is our policy then? You know, the bridge improvement grant stuff, it's based on a lot of criteria, you know, the length that you have to be detoured, the traffic counts, and a lot of different numbers. And what are we basing what we pave on, you know, what are we basing that off of? And you know, I guess I didn't think I was asking for a whole lot. All I was asking is a sheet that says, hey, you know, these are items we need to work on, not tying them to a time, not tying them to money. That's all I'm asking for, and it doesn't seem like it's a big ask.
We
but-
I
already-
agree with that, Dan, but
Okay, so why can't we
I
add it?
just don't think
as a
we should
pay-
have it on the
Okay.
5-year plan.
So where's it gonna go, so we won't go another 10 years without addressing these? Where?
How about we type it up and pin it to Mike's bulletin board?
I think.
Then he'll see it every day.
Would we be willing to do a how do we add it to, you know, I guess, in my opinion, the best place to do it is the 5-year plan, because it's addressed every single year and looked at and changed and modified. I mean, you know, 303 was ground up and supposed to be paved, and that was never done. There's a lot of roads that were ground up and not turned back, and for whatever reason, before all of us. I guess my point is we owe these citizens some sort of answer, because it's been going on long enough, so.
Okay, Mr.
One,
Just a minute, Mr. Klimish made a motion. Well, I don't know if there's been a second. Let's see if there's been a No, then he said he wants it changed, so I don't know that we have an actual second. Do we have a second or no?
Not to add this to the 5-year plan. I asked Dan
Okay.
to adjust.
To modify it.
To modify.
So,
That we
then-
approve the 5-year plan at this point in time, and definitely, we've got the video tonight of what we're discussing. Mike and I'm aware of the people that on Kaiser Road that are looking to do something. So I think we just need to get together with those people. We need to come up with a plan that they're gonna agree with and we can agree with. And when that happens, we can address that.
Okay.
I don't believe that there's not 90% of the people that live on Kaiser Road that doesn't wanna do something.
Well, let's follow Robert's Rules of Order. We have a motion by Commissioner Klimish. Do we have a second, based on his motion, to add these 3 special projects to a separate sheet of paper to be attached to the 5-year plan? Do we have a second? Hearing none, the motion fails. Now, we get back to, do we approve the 5-year plan? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the 5-year plan as presented.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 5-year plan as presented. I'll have a roll call
Further
vote.
discussion?
We had discussion.
Well,
Okay.
On this
Mr.
motion.
Commissioner Klimish wants discussion on this motion. I'm sorry.
I have no problem with the 5-year plan. I just, without some sort of guarantee, I feel these are gonna slip through the cracks again. And I really feel that we need to have some sort of policy on how we're gonna hard surface roads or re-hard surface them. And it seems right now it's pretty arbitrary with the county, as, you know, some get done, some don't get done. And whether that's using traffic counts or working with Mike, we need to have a policy so that roads like these don't fall through the cracks.
Commissioner Kettering, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just wanted to ask Mike and confirm. I was kind of remembering that we did highway counts on every major road in the county on a yearly basis. Am I incorrect on that, Mike?
The state does yearly traffic counts, not on every road, just sporadically throughout the county. if we want traffic counts on a specific road, then yes, I can make that happen.
Can you hear him?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
then
there is some basis for the selection of roads based on data travel.
Well, and some of the roads that are not getting put back to hard surface, if you remember right, we had that road task force back in 2020 or 2021, where we did town hall meetings, and people from that area came and we chose A, B, and C roads. A roads were the ones that were going to, if we have money to make them into a Cadillac, we're gonna make them into the Cadillac. The B roads were the Chevys and the Fords, and the C roads, well, if we have money to keep them going, we'll keep them going. If they fall into disrepair, they fall off the map as a hard surface road.
All right then, now we'll have,
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Markwart.
I just want to point out that in 2021, 2019, things have changed a whole lot. Inflation, costs of replacing these roads and everything else. We don't know where we're going to be at next year in replacing roads, let alone 5 years down the road. So I would like to approve the 5-year plan and then move forward. Next year, we can decide if there needs to be changes according to how Mike decides. There's roads depending on the weather. We've already noticed that you can get 1.5 inches of rain on West St. Louis Road, and you get a drizzle on Walshtown Road. So there's a lot of weather conditions and other things that are going to change our thought process on a yearly basis. So that's my recommendation. We approved the 5-year plan today, and who knows, Kaiser Road, there might be 20 more houses built along that road and needs to be fixed within the next year or two.
And maybe some of those people would be interested in a road district. Having said that, we are now going to move on to a roll call vote.
John,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Don,
Yes,
Wanda,
Yes. 5-0 roll. The 5-year plan is approved as presented. Moving on to the state's attorney, the Knox box resolution. And Mr. Klimisch, turn your microphone on for our viewers at home.
Can you hear me? Wait. Okay. Well, Wanda, what's in there, Commission, what's in there, if you guys have it, is there's that proposed Knox box resolution. That was something I probably want you to review tonight. Paul Schurslick is not here tonight, probably to talk about it. But I think more the question would be whether the commission is interested in improving a Knox box resolution, which my opinion would be you should be. That's something we should have. But the question would be is to whom it should apply. When you look at the proposed one that's in there.
It's not in my packet.
It was emailed out.
yeah,
Yep.
because I
Here, let me-
didn't get it.
Yeah. And Rob, I get what you're saying is we were kind of told a Knox box was going to be on the gate to kind of get to the community. And this resolution, I don't know if, did you guys write it or is it just a generic
Oh,
one?
that's the
or-
one I believe we would have got from Paul. I think it
Okay.
might have came from the city. The city
Yeah.
hasn't adopted, but I believe it came from the city.
What I dislike about this particular Knox box resolution is that it talks about, commercial and single-family homes needing a Knox box. I guess I don't really see the justification for that. I totally understand getting into the community, but I'm really resistant into having access to individuals' homes and vacation homes. And I guess if somebody, is having an emergency, yes, get to the community, but I don't know about
Yeah,
getting into individual houses. That's a step too far for me.
Yeah, I agree. That
I
was
mean,
the first thing I-
go bust down the door, get in and save the guy, but not have access to somebody. Yeah, that's too far for me.
Does it
so.
concern no one that it's only going to be the Knox box brand?
Yeah, I mean, that seems a little
Well,
proprietary.
That seems to be,
Yeah.
I think, one of the reasons to do it one brand is then there's only one system that the EMS
I get
has to
that,
work with. But, unfortunately, yeah, if the manufacturers can get together and agree on one standard, then yes, then we could have more manufacturers involved, but,
Yep.
or we could maybe rewrite it, not so that it's Knox Box brand, but a exactly compatible system. So if another manufacturer makes
Or
one,
call it key access or something like that, but I'm very resistant to
Hold.
individual homes and even businesses and
Yeah.
those types of things, I think is too
Yeah,
far for me.
For the county, I think we really want to look at is just cases where we have a
Gated communities.
gated, or even just if you have a larger property that's gated and locked
Yeah.
too.
I disagree with that. I think apartment complexes need to have some sort of access also.
Well,
Well, that'd be
And
a-
you know, and I also agree with the single brand, rather than having, this contractor has this brand and this contractor has that one, and then we have 4 different keys that the fire chief has to, this one goes here. I think we, and I'm not saying it necessarily has to be Knox brand.
That's
But
what I was getting at.
I
It has
believe
to
we need
be
to have one
A
fully
brand.
compatible.
And I think it should reach out to further than just a gated community. If there's an apartment complex and
And it has a
and it has
secure door.
electronic key to open that door, I think the fire department, the police department need to have access to that building. So, I agree, I don't want a single family home to be entered into or new commercial buildings, but I think there should be some restrictions on gated communities, apartment complexes and things like that. So if we could rewrite this resolution to reflect some of those issues, that I would agree with that.
Yeah, and John, and then we can have Paul here next time too to kind of
Sure.
thing, but that's what I wanted you to do, is talk what you just did. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Who'd you want it to apply to more than anything? I think we need it, but I think the question is who do they apply to?
Yep, I agree.
So, does anybody disagree with moving the Knox box resolution to the next meeting?
No, I think we should put that on the next meeting.
All right, that being said, we're gonna do Knox box keys for the next resolution to the next meeting. Moving on to the September 19, 2023 minutes.
I would move to approve the September 19th minutes as written.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Markort, seconded by Commissioner Clemish. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against? Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to the Planning Commission member discussion. Mr. Vetter.
Good evening. We have a planning commission member that's going to be on a 10-month work assignment, and so he came in and he just said he wanted to make sure that the commission didn't have any issues with him possibly calling in for at least the next 10 months, if not more. And so I said I'd have that discussion with you all.
I don't have any issues with that. Like I said, we need to improve our ability to work remotely with these meetings, so, and we are hopefully gonna get that worked out more, so.
Does this need a motion?
And he is planning on calling in.
Correct.
Or
Via
or
Zoom
zooming
or-
in?
Well,
Zooming
he's
in.
gonna, call in to the front phone
Yeah, I
at
have
least.
no problems with
I
that.
I know years ago, like 3 years ago, we approved the planning commission job description that everybody had signed, and I believe the reason it was done is because there was such a high absentee rate with planning commissioners not showing up, and there wasn't a quorum, and it was delaying a lot of things. So I guess I don't have an issue with it, but I mean, it's also going to be a lot more difficult. Our planning commission is half the size it's been in other years, so As long as we're making meetings, I guess.
Planning commission's fine.
Yeah, if it
But-
becomes an issue, I mean, the ordinance reads that we can remove for cause, so.
I believe
so I-
the planning commissioner job description said if you missed 3 meetings, that was grounds for removal.
Personally miss or telephonically miss?
That if you were absent from, it was before COVID. So it was if you did not attend 3 meetings. And the reason is just not having quorums. It really was taken
But he-
too long to get things
Yeah,
through,
but
so.
he wouldn't be missing meetings if he's telephoning in
Sure,
and
yeah.
participating in meetings.
Yep,
So he'd
yep.
still be meeting the meetings. If he doesn't and he fails to do that and misses 3 meetings, then we would have a problem and we'd have grounds to.
His schedule should
Replace
match
him.
from what they're planning
Yeah.
anyway, so hopefully it all
And he,
works out.
and he, the individual's a good person, we definitely want to keep him, but, we could always appoint him back when he comes back. We know how business sometimes takes you out of the community.
Sounds good.
All right. There being no commissioners objecting to it, we're going to go with that. Excuse me. Now, Mr. Vetter, I think you're on Yankton Land and Cattle, rezone first reading.
Yes, we have a first reading requesting a rezone of a parcel in rural transitional district to commercial district per Article 18, Section 1809, and Article 20, Section 2003. Said property is legally described as Lot 4 in the northeast quarter, the southeast quarter of Section 24, Township 94 North, Range 56 West of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. And Mr. Stevens is here to answer any questions if there is some. They're basically, it's about 2.99 acres that they're looking to pretty much match the area, so.
Can you, I see the little circle here on the map. Is that's the little truck stop? Is that what they're?
Right next to
north of
Double
that.
D, yes.
Most of that.
Right to the west, between,
West.
yeah,
To the north or to the west?
to the west. Yeah, it's an L
That's what
shape,
I'm
it
trying to
goes
figure
both.
out.
But it's in between there and Markwart's. The
got you.
plat is in the packet also.
Yep.
All right then, any other comments from the commission?
I believe you got to open it up to public comment.
I would open it up to public comment. Anybody here have anything to say about this? Mr. Stevens, would you like to share with us and the home viewers? All right then, public comment is closed. I would, excuse me, entertain a motion to go.
Madam Chair.
First reading.
First reading. So we
Not
don't,
needed.
we don't do anything on the first
It'll
reading.
be on the next meeting.
Oh, no.
But
I was moved
I would
to
make-
entertain a motion to go into Board
so
of
moved.
Adjustment
So moved.
is where I was
Second.
going.
Me too.
Moved by Clemish,
That's a good-
seconded
That was
by
a good
Heine.
save.
The applicant hasn't called in. I'll give you the number here while I read off the conditional use permit.
Do I have to dial anything to get out?
Nope.
Okay, so we have. Can have your thing back, assuming this gentleman answers.
So we have a request for a conditional use permit to co-locate a new wireless carrier on an existing tower in an ag district per Article 25, Section 2503.
Hi, just a minute. Hi, this is the Yankton County Commission calling with regard to.
Yes, I apologize, I was just trying to dial in.
Oh, that's all right. We dialed out, so
I
Mr.
appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Vetter is going through the conditional use permit, so we'll have you available for comment.
Yes, you do.
So said property is legally described as the west half of the southwest quarter, excepting parcel A and the north 150 feet of the south 776.5 feet of the west 370.5 feet, and Track 2 Lucas Addition in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, and accepting Track 1 Lucas Addition Lot 4 in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, all in Section 31, Township 96 North, Range 55 West of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. And Jim is online there to discuss if there's any issues or concerns.
Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
No.
None for Mr. Clemish? Mr. Markwart's shaking his head no.
Looks like it's just
Miss-
another
Miss-
antenna on a tower.
Pretty straight.
Mr. Heine has none, I have none, Mr. Kettering, do you have any?
No, I don't.
All right then, I would open it up to public comment.
Well, we always appreciate when they co-locate versus put up another
Yep.
tower, so.
All right then, public comment is closed.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Clemish, second by Commissioner Heine. Roll call vote, please.
Dan?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Wanda?
Yes. CUP passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Now I thank you for appearing by telephone.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to do it this way. It's more than driving there from Chicago.
Well, we do prefer that you come all the way here and spend your money here, but this time we'll let you get by.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Bye. All right, I entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Markort, second by Commissioner Clemish, back in regular section. Claims. Anyone have any questions on claims? Because I have two.
Okay.
With regard to claims, page 12, minor equipment, I see that the sheriff has listed as minor equipment, $24,022. Do we know what kind of minor equipment that was?
It shouldn't, it was his vehicle.
Oh, his new vehicle?
Yeah, we'll change that into,
Okay, and then,
Is that the two vehicles that they bought, used vehicles that they bought to replace the one that was wrecked, I believe?
I believe.
I think it's just the one, I believe.
Okay.
and then the second is $2,912.41, again on page 12, spent to the graphics shop to remark all of the sheriff's cars. Was that a necessary expense? Anybody have an answer? Okay.
So,
I think he
We-
did say that he was remarking them, wasn't he?
we were told that there was 4 marked sheriff's cars out of 12. Now they're all gonna be marked sheriff's cars.
Okay. So now they're all marked.
They will be all
Well-
marked, yes.
Was it in the projected budget?
I don't know. The sheriff's not here to ask that, but perhaps we can inquire and have that answer at the next meeting.
He'll be at the next meeting anyway.
I guess, having, more marked cars, I think is probably a good thing, for transparency wise. So I guess I understand the reasoning behind it. If you drive past a deputy who's in an unmarked vehicle, you don't really pay attention to it. But if it says Yankton County Sheriff on it, then, maybe people feel a little safer that they're getting some law enforcement in their community, so.
Or maybe they slow down when they see a
A marked car.
Yeah,
unmarked car versus an
exact-
unmarked car, or
exactly.
maybe they don't slow down and the county gets more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, No, I
Either
guess-
way, 6 of one, half a dozen.
I'm pretty sure tickets go to the school boards and not,
Well,
I'm pretty, I
that's
think we
right.
learned that at the conference.
The children
when we-
are our future.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised that we had 8 unmarked cars and,
yeah.
or 4 marked out of the 12.
I'm very surprised that we only had 4 marked cars, because,
You know, I always drove by the police station
and they're all sitting there.
and 4 of the cars that were marked were sitting there. So I guess maybe the other 8 were out and about.
Or not, who knows? We don't know, because they weren't marked.
Now we'll know though.
That's right.
We
All
can
right.
point out that, you know, on page 14, there's $9,268.62 for
juveniles?
juveniles.
Yep.
Again, a mandatory,
Yep.
yeah.
All right then.
The 24,000, was for the radios for the car. Not the cars.
For all the cars or just the one car?
I think it'll be for the both.
Probably for all the cars, and I believe he got a grant.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say,
Yeah.
like.
We have to
he
pay for
has-
them and then
Yes.
we'll get.
There's a grant to
Reimbursed.
reimburse,
Okay.
yeah, if I recall right.
Well, miter equipment at 24,000 does raise an eyebrow.
It's a lot of equipment that all is minor.
That's right.
But
All right.
I do believe Preston's told us last night that the one car that was wrecked, and we got a check last time for 26,000, that he replaced that car with 2 cars for less money than that, so.
Well, good if that's what happened.
Exactly.
Is it for radios or is that for laptops?
That's
'Cause
the, it was the
laptops, and I think he's getting laptops in there, and that's supposed to be so they can, you know, if they
can
pick
run
somebody
their-
up,
they
they
can
can run
run
their.
everything on
yeah,
the car, they don't have to
Right.
come
Yeah,
back in
and I believe that was a
to
grant.
file reports
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
All right then. Does anybody, I'd entertain a motion to approve claims.
I so move.
Second,
Moved by Markwart, second by Heine. Any discussion? Vote, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. I'd entertain a motion for the September 23 payroll.
Kettering moves.
Second,
Kettering moves to approve it. Clemish seconds. All in favor? Discussion?
aye,
Don't want to forget discussion. Got anything to say?
aye,
Okay. Seconded by Clemish. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Budgeted cash transfer to the Highway Department.
And this is just a transfer of cash into the highway department. It's a budgeted. as
Move
you can
approval.
see on your-
Motion by Clemish,
Second.
second by Markwart. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Public comment. Anybody have anything they'd like to share in our viewing audience? That being no takers, we'll move on to commissioner updates. Mr. Kettering, you have anything to share?
I do not.
All right. Mr. Clemish?
not at this time.
Mr. Markwart?
Not at this time.
Mr. Heine?
yeah, I think, I don't know, there's, discussions here about some of the latest phishing attacks, some cybersecurity problems that we're having. I think we're probably gonna have to do some type of training among all of our employees about this, just to really kind of thwart these, because that's the point of entry, it looks like, so.
Cyber attacks and training, okay? Do you have an opinion whether it should be by department or if it should be one vast group?
I'm not entirely sure yet. It might have to be, I feel a little bit that it might have to be one vast group, and it might have to be something that we do on a regular basis as well.
In the
to keep
past,
refreshed.
Ryan, what we did is we had our old IT guy would set up 3 different classes in this room and go through it, and I think we did that every 6-8 months or something for a while there, but you know, however you want to
Yeah,
do that, I think it's
doing
important.
it
It's a good
once a
idea.
year, especially as, you know, attacks are always evolving and changing, so.
and multiple times, so, you know, the people can, you know, half of the department can attend and then the other half can go, so we're not, I think that's a good idea, Ryan.
All right. I have nothing. Moving on, items for next meeting. We have Mr. Kettering's request for adding bylaws for the zoning commission and the board, and/or the Board of Adjustment. What else do we have on our list of things to do?
Knockbox.
I'm sorry?
The Knox-
Knox-
Oh, the Knox box? Okay. Anything else? Hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion.
I
To
move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Heine, seconded by Clemish to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye, 4-0. Mr. Kettering hung up.
I think we give you the job, Wanda, we're done in under an hour. Faster than Don.
Well, I might have been a little faster, but you repeated that road stuff 3 times.
We've gotta do something about it.
Well, I get that, but you said the same thing the first time as you said the second time.
You know, Don, why does 294 12 miles